White rabbit in the wild.
Here's what I did this week on the farm. One of the first things I did this week was seed some more trays. I seeded different types of summer squash, 2 types of green squash, 2 types of yellow squash, and then a patty pan squash, which kind of looks like a UFO little saucer, and then 2 types of cucumbers. I did a lemon cucumber because I really love them, and I think they're really fun for making sandwich pickles. And then I also did a corinto, which is just like a slicing cucumber. And I did some gomphrena, which are these little tiny puffball flowers that dry really well and maintain their color, so they're really fun for dried bouquets. And they're also just like fun looking flowers. I really love them. And yeah, speaking of seedlings, I continued hardening off my plants. My first round of seedlings that I hardened off had their first overnight and they all did well. So it will be plantable next week, which is exciting. And then I also started hardening off a new set of seedlings, my basil, my chard, and my cilantro. And my main focus for the week was setting up my next 3 beds. So there was a lot of bed digging. Most of it happened in the rain. I do like working in the rain because I just think it's like, I don't know. It's like water day at camp, I guess. It's fun to a degree. But the wheelbarrow, I like couldn't get it out of the rope. My hands were just slipping off and it was just like not the most graceful of experiences. I was able to get 3 beds done, which was exciting. And they're all direct seated. And then I did my little fad prep, which I also added a second F to the front of that to include flattening the bed because I think it gives me a more even surface. So now it's flatten, furrow, amend, and drip. The first few beds I was a little worried about like not going deep enough with my drip, but I got some advice from a group chat I'm in with some farmers from my apprenticeship farm. I realized that I was just being a little over dramatic about how deep they needed to be. So if it's popping up a little bit, not a big deal. And if anything, it kind of gives me a sense of where it is later on when I'm going to be using like a hori knife to be digging into the bed to plant my transplants, because you don't want to be stabbing into the drip tape if you can help it. So yeah, I flattened, I furrowed, I amended, and I ran some drip out. And I direct seeded those beds, making one a baby green bed, and the second I want to use in salad mixes, but they're more perennial plants. And then the third bed is like mature greens that I am direct seeding just to kind of see how it works. I did a mix of 3 lettuces. I did chard for baby greens, beets for baby greens, and tatsoi for baby greens. And then I also did in the middle bed sorrel, which I want to be using in my salad mixes, cilantro, and then a second red tatsoi. And then in the mature green beds, I'm doing a section of chard and then 2 sections of kale, a Toscano, which is just like a dino kale, and a red Russian kale. I'm going to be doing intercropping and relay cropping. The benefit of that is that I can use some of the plugs I have already to fill in gaps in any of the direct seeded beds where there's like poor germination or any vole damage, because I've been seeing some of that. So I can fill in sections there so I'm not wasting space. Like, yes, it's a bummer to lose the seeds, but there's a way to fill the space still. Because it was still a little chilly, I left the tarp over the beds after I seeded for the first day or two, just to kind of keep them warmer. And also it was a bit windy, so dealing with remay in the wind is not great. Speaking of remay, after the first couple days of keeping the tarp on top of the seeded beds, I set up little hoops and then I ran more row cover out, which means I finally finished my first tarp load of beds, which is exciting. So I stretched it out to kind of let it dry out a bit more so I can just kind of temporarily roll it up and store it because I'm going to be using it pretty soon. I've been waiting for a fuel card so that I can buy off-road diesel because it's like $1.50 cheaper than regular diesel. And with gas prices these days, I'm not messing around with full price diesel if I can help it. So my mower is verging on empty and I don't really want to mess around with getting too close to that. I'm waiting until I get that card to do my next round of mowing, which should be coming pretty soon. And then I'll be able to set up the tarp and start oculating to set up for this next round of beds. At the end of the week, there was just like a ton of cottonwood seed blowing around. I don't know how much of a problem that's going to end up being for my seeded beds. I guess we'll see. Outside of that, I've been doing some mini bed maintenance. The arugula and the lettuce mix is doing really well, and so are the radishes. I'm really excited about them. I think they're gonna be like perfectly ready in time for my first farmer's market. So I'm really excited about that. And I set up some irrigation over there so I don't have to be hand watering the small beds, which, every minute counts. On top of watering the big beds, I've also been doing my regular seedling maintenance. So watering them in the little mini greenhouse, and now also watering them. Okay, my alarm to water my seedlings went off and I had to reset this up. So on top of watering the hardening off section, I've also been watering in the mini greenhouse. There was a day that got really hot and I checked on the peppers for the second time too late and I lost some of them. So luckily I overseeded in the pepper department. Their loss will be more, but won't be grievous to my farm plan. So I guess redundancy is great. That was a huge bummer though, and I'm glad it was those and not literally like anything else. So a learning experience for sure. But I did see a white rabbit, and I don't know, I feel like that's a good sign, a good luck sign, maybe. I've never seen a white rabbit in the wild. Have you? I mean, I thought that was incredibly cool. And that's really what I've been focusing on this week. Now for Content Corner, I've been watching season 2 of Beef, which I think has been absolutely incredible. I really liked the first season. It was very stressful, and it was a stressful experience to watch. And I don't know if I could handle a rewatch of that necessarily. Like, I don't think it would be an enjoyable experience, but I really liked watching it the first time. This season is not nearly as aggressive or painful, I guess, but it is people consistently making like the worst decision for themselves over and over and over again, which I get is not everyone's cup of tea, but it's certainly mine. So everyone's doing a great job in it. I think Oscar Isaac is phenomenal. It's just like a really incredible season, and I think it's very well done. So highly recommend. I have been listening to this podcast called Do You Know Mordecai? It got me through like a day of bed digging, which is always fun. It's a woman looking into a scammer basically who dated her friend and turned out to be just like lying constantly, and then they find out he's been lying to like a string of women for years. I think it's really fascinating. I do really like a podcast that's like, it's almost like vigilante justice, I guess. And what's been destroying me has been Noah Kahan's new album, The Great Divide. I'm just like sobbing while shoveling compost. It's a really, really, really beautiful album. And I think he's such a good storyteller, and I cannot wait to listen to it over and over and over again. That's what I've been up to. I'll catch you back here next week for week 17.